So I'm contacting with Ying, and then hey, good morning, David.
Hi.
Hi. I hope
Can you hear me?
Yes. I hope this is not too early compared to last time. Yeah, we only have 3 groups of students. Are you coming? Yeah, Ying is coming right now. Okay.
Hello.
Everybody is here.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming. So is everybody here?
Yeah, I guess so.
All the
Jia
students?
Mei is here. Chris is here. David is
I
here.
am here.
Yeah,
Yes, everybody's here.
and then all the critics are here. I guess students are here too. Yes.
Yes.
All the students
Yes.
are here, right?
Yes. So I'm allowing some like people from outside. Some of them are employees. Zhou Zihan, Hu Yan.
Those
So
are the students.
people are coming in. So maybe Ying, you can do a little introduction of the students, the studio, and also give all people, the introduction of all the critics.
Okay.
Hey, all the students，所有的同学，请打开你们的摄像头，好不好？请打开你们的摄像头。如果你们可以设置一下虚拟的背景，那个虚化的背景，好不好？因为那个老师们都是都已经露脸了。好，谢谢啊。
录大卫，把大卫搬这儿。
OK。好，这是咱们这课的最后一次了，好吗？也给大家一个合照的机会。好 ，OK， 你可以说了。
Okay. Thank you.
过来一点吗？你坐这一点。Okay.
I would like to say thank you for, thank you to everybody for coming to join our final crit at this hour and during the break, the holiday break in
China.
And in China. And it's a very interesting project that we are working with this semester. We're trying to do a regeneration, a kind of rehabilitation of the city of Daegu. And so it's a project that spans across 3 different scales: the architecture scale, the urban scale, and the detail scale of the architecture. And our students, of course, did a very good job. And so what we are dealing with is the city of Daegu. Daegu, right? The city of Daegu. Daegu. It's actually a kind of small post-industrial city in Korea. And right now, what the challenge the city is facing is the depopulation and the the kind of production mode and living mode that doesn't really fit with the current modern society. So what we're doing here is we're trying to propose 3 different directions as a kind of model to regenerate the city. So we have 12 students and we divide the students into 3 groups. We have a group that work on the kind of industry assets or industry heritage of the city. And we have a group that work on the kind of agriculture, urban farming, urban agriculture of the city. And we have a group that work on the kind of commercial armature of the city. So we can we can begin our discussion from each group, and I would like to introduce our all our very exciting critics. And first of all, let's welcome Professor David Grahame Shane. Can you say hi?
Hello.
Yes, and Professor Grahame Shane is a very supportive professor and very supportive mentor for our work. And he's my professor back in Cooper Union, and I think he's always a professor of Professor Jia Mei in Columbia. There's one of your students from Columbia in here also. So he turned off his camera and yes.
Yeah,
and,
he worked for SOM for 4 years, and then he came back to China and worked for AECOM for 10 years as an urban designer.
yeah, we'll have him turn on his camera later.
Right.
Yeah. And Professor Grahame Shane is always he's been a professor for many very distinguished architects. Like Zaha Hadid is one of his very famous students, and he's also a major scholar for Coring Row. May I say Archigram also, and he graduated from AA from the 60s, and he also got his PhD with Coring Row at Cornell University, and has been teaching in Columbia, the Cooper Union, and also University of Pennsylvania, and he's the author of many very important urban theoretical works. It's been widely published. Did I cover everything, Professor Grahame Shane? I'm sorry. If I missed anything, please just remind me. And
It's good.
Good. And we have Miss Professor Vassilia Pirierros. Did I pronounce your name right? It's French. I'm sorry, my French is not perfect.
It's okay. It's fine.
Pirierros. Okay, perfect. And she's also a professor at Tianjin University School of Architecture, and she's the founder of Beijing Larson Architects, and she got her MAUD from School of Architecture of Paris La Villette, and she got her Bachelor of Architecture from National College of Art and Industry in Strasbourg, France. Okay, I hope I cover everything. 可能张欣楠没进来，你发那个以后。
我发给他。
Okay. And we have Professor Jia Mei. He's a graduate of Tsinghua University, and also he got his Master of Architecture and Urban Design from Columbia University. And he's a registered architect in the New York State. He's the design director of East Coast Design Studio. He's a visiting professor of School of Architecture and Landscape Architecture in Beijing in Peking University. Let's welcome Professor Jia Mei. And we also have Professor Zhang Xinnan. I apologize. We made a little mistake in the poster we sent out. Professor Zhang Xinnan is actually the deputy dean in the School of Architecture in Tianjin University, and he got his Bachelor of Architecture and Master of Architecture from Tianjin University. He got his PhD from Kyoto University, and he's been very supportive to our study and program. And we also have Professor Yue Feng here. Hello, Professor Yue Feng.
Oh,
He's right here.
hello, everyone.
Yeah, he got his Bachelor of Architecture and Master of Architecture from Tsinghua University, and a classmate of us back in GSD, MAUD, Harvard University. And he's also a co-founder of Design Reserve. And he's also a teaching fellow at Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Let's welcome Professor Yue Feng. And you also have Professor Chris. He's the professor of our studio. He's leading the urban farm group. And you have me and Professor
Agriculture.
Agriculture. You have me and Mr. Boo here, and we're doing Professor Boo is doing the armature, the commercial armature, and I'm doing the industrial assets of the rehabilitation of the city. So without further ado, let's have the students present.
各位同学可能把那个摄像头开一下，我们合一个影，因为后面肯定答辩完了，大家可能就离开了，好吧？稍微露一下脸，好吗
Turn on your cameras. Photo time.
？OK
Ah,
OK，确保自己脸都在这里面啊。OK， 好，我们截个图，1、2、3。OK， 好的。
OK. So who's the first group?
他们这个2个女孩的这个。
Okay, commercial, right?
嗯哼。
Okay, let's have the commercial group present.
光源不卡。
所以我会把那个麦克风都静音一下。
共享屏幕。老师，我们要共享屏幕的话，可能需要把主持人移交给我们。
你们是哪个？我看于南是吧？
对，于南。
你共享屏幕，或者我看一下啊，让我看能不能给。
他说主持人不允许参与者共享屏幕。
让我看一下啊，稍等，我给一下权限。好像真的是允许录制本地文件中，我设为主持人，你看可以吗？
可以了吗？现在？
我试一下。可以了，老师。
OK， 好的。
可以。
好，请开始，谢谢。
稍等一下，老师，没有办法播放。怎么
F5。
可以了，把这个给它缩小。
好看啊，这个封面。
开始。
Okay. Good evening, everyone. As the first group of this presentation, welcome to Digu. Now we are going to take you to a different Digu. Our group's design is Digu Urban Renewal Design. Our theme is Digu City Theater and City Exhibition. And the team member is Yu Nan and Chen Xintong. Our design extracts a main street and a loop from Digu and is divided into 3 parts. First of all, we analyze the site. In the process of Digu's urban development, Digu's commercial and industry have been well developed. Since ancient times, we focus on the industrial and commercial history of Digu, and analyze the traffic conditions of the site, which we selected. Digu is well developed with urban infrastructure such as a high-speed rail station and an airport. Secondly, the north side of the site we choose is a high-speed railway station and the station. The traffic is very convenient and it can also reach the life cycle of 10 minutes by bike in the city. The bus in the site is also very advanced. On the whole, the traffic situation is relatively good and it's a very promising city. Our design will be mainly for the buildings on Main Street, for the buildings functions on Main Street, mainly commercial buildings. And the number of building floors gradually increases from west to east. The whole base also have a lot of greening hospitals, schools, and other buildings, and is very perfect. Next, we make a type analysis of the blocks in the whole site. And finally, we come to the conclusion that Daegu has high development prospects, but the city is currently crowded and it does not play its commercial value. So we hope to activate Daegu through our design.
As for the existing problems, we will solve them through the design of the main street and a loop. We use the Daegu's long history and the city's character to correct the city. First of all, we analyze the main street of our main design. There are a lot of valuable nodes on the main street, such as Ximen Market, Tongda Park, and Qingshan Park, and so on. We satisfy the blocks of the selected nodes into the liner space and the outer space. We collected the culture and the history of these nodes to prepare for the future designs.
And after analyzing the city typology of Daegu, we choose a main street and an outer ring for the main object of the design. From the west to the east, the architectural style of the main street we choose presents a transformation from traditional to modern, which is also a linear relationship of Daegu's urban development. So we hope to tell the historical changes of urban development and urban characteristics through Main Street. Just like Qingming River map, we present our design through different nodes. This is our design process through the model of the city Main Street and outer ring. The site is divided into 3 parts. The first section is an urban mobile shelter in the form of a shelter stage to show the dramatic urban development story. The second section is urban exhibition hall to show the urban characteristics through different nodes. The third paragraph is to express a vision of the future city of Daegu.
Well, the first section is the urban flowing theater. This part is designed by me. In this part, I extracted 7 nodes in the main street and the loop of the city to create a 6-act stage to show the characteristic of the city in the mode of theater. Well, these are the 7 main nodes and the side plan. As the entrance of the beginning of the whole main street, the architectural style of this part is inclined to the traditional style. I want to awaken people's urban memory of Daegu through my design. The first is the prologue, which is called Memory Paradise. Daegu is an industrial city where the industrial and the textile is the common memory of all Daegu people. I extracted the most common elements of the industrial production, the knots and the screws, translated them into the elements and designed a castle that can be interactive entertainment. Not only will it provide a new place of entertainment for students from the nearby school, but also it will be a large scale installation to refresh the memories. In addition, I extracted the urban fabric of Daegu and redesigned the floor paving of the entire block so that people can walk here and feel the space of the whole Daegu. A nice part is the scenario 1, which is called Recall Square. This is a small triangular square located on the main street near the node 1, where 3 small installations are designed to hang Daegu, which will take people back to the area of textile. And the scenario 2 is the forest theater. The forest theater is located into 3 parts, arranged in a triangular entrance space and of the main street, and the 3 venues that connected the part with the loop. This forest theaters of the park and the loop through the same hard pavement make people walk into the park naturally, and the outer ring walk and the park naturally connected together. In the process of designing the forest theater, I connected several important nodes in the park and translated the elements, thus generating the plan of the forest theater. These forest theaters are composed to many small installations, which are formal translations of the most representative textiles in Daegu traditional industries. These installations are made of bamboo and wood, a renewable material. The flowing installations are like long scores in Chinese paintings, and the surface is projected to show the history of Daegu's urban development, as if the story of Daegu unfolded slowly. In addition, the different scale industries constitute a different small stage which can host different activities. Next to the scenario 3, a flowing piazza. Here is an important commercial node on the main street. Here is a commercial clusters of buildings. Through the design of the lateral walkway with a flowing textile image, I transformed the original building to form a dramatic plaza in the center of the commercial complex. On the main street, there is a beautiful picture of a flowing circle. And about the scenario 4, which is called LA Theater. About this scenario, I want to ask what is a city? Architecture is a collection of functional blocks, and the city is a collection of these architectures. In the straight stage, I help to express a miniature city through the form of a small stage. This this site is located in an area combining the commercial and the residential areas, where spacing of the buildings is particularly narrow. The urban gray space is wasted, and the commercial value of the shops located in the streets is seriously underestimated. Therefore, I connected these shops which deserve to revive in this series. These nodes are connected in the series through the boxes and the corridors of bamboo and woods. And then the stage is decorated with different colors of textiles to form a street theater. And these are some renderings of the nodes. At the entrance of the narrow street, through the design of this street, of this stage, people walking on the main street are naturally introduced to the originally neglected alley. And the commercial value of the shops inside is improved. In addition, the sky made of the different colored screens will cast the different lights, making this small stage colorful and inviting people to explore. I used the model to analyze the different time of the lights. The last part is the climax and the go of the play. This part is the climate of the play, where is the pedestrian bridge connects the shops on both sides of the main street, and people can naturally walk onto the bridge through the slow walk, and continue to look at the park in the distance. The bridge connects Daegu's most famous cement mark with the commercial district outside the market, and the bridge and the building from a whole, providing a new roaming shopping path of Summon Park. Some goods can be sold on the bridge, which is a commercial continuation of the Summon Park. In addition, the bridge acts as the last act of the whole drama. Performing and other activities, maybe there are actors performing on the bridge, and people are standing under the bridge, looking up at their performance. Perhaps the other way around. The street will be venue of the actors to perform, where people will stand on the overpass to watch. People walk along the path of the bridge to Summon Market and come to the final art of the final play, which is a small square with many small stage. On this stage, a wooden structure is designed to show the history of Daegu's urban development by production. Actors will perform under these curtains, and the audience can walk in it and immerse themselves in the history of Daegu. This is the end of the theater of Daegu.
Well, teachers, now we are entering the second stage of the Daegu experience, the Daegu City exhibition. In this section, you will see Daegu overlapping on time and space, experience Daegu in the past, present, and the future, and see the potential of Daegu's future development. Well, the second section as a link between the past and the future is a very important part of the whole interface of the main street. The former section is Digu's famous Xiaojun market, which was once the peak of Digu's glory and Digu's rich history background. The next section is the center of Digu with the Dongsen Road business district for a modern business atmosphere. The second section, as a transition, takes on the function of displaying and integrating Digu's farmer market atmosphere, industrial memory, culture, heritage, and modern atmosphere. Therefore, my definition of the second paragraph is an urban exhibition, an urban museum overlapping time and space. In the second section, there are a lot of ideal land for parking along the street. As a kind of bargain, I will convert some ideal parking lots into small parking buildings. In this way, I will obtain the use of some square land as an exchange and complete my interface design plan. I selected 7 points as the experience nodes of the whole street. This is the main street and the node research mode. The research mode led to 1 topology and 2 routes along the main street interface and the outer ring road paths connecting the key nodes of Digu. Without breaking the existing traffic pattern of the main street, a continuous interface at both ends and is formed on both sides of the main street, and the 7 nodes are connected in the series. They are the wind box, the market, the machine world, the butterfly, the hub world, and the backtracking and the tower. Well, through the wood module as the city plunge into intervene the city, there are several reasons for choosing the model. First, wood is cheap material, which is less of financial burden for urban design makers. Achieve the desired efforts of acting the city interface at a lower cost. And at the same time, for the city, the pressure on the city is minimal. Wood is environment friendly and can be recycled. And the action on the city is also smaller. The node is called butterfly as the climax of the whole experience is the most important node in the second section. And why is the name of this node defined as a butterfly? First of all, my understanding of the exhibition whole is the overlapping of time and space. The node is the climax of the whole storyline, and Digu has undergone transformation and reached the peak of perspection at this time node. A small butterfly is interwoven with change of space and time, and we transforms from into a beautiful butterfly. The interweaving of time and space on his body reaches its peak. So just like my architecture of this node, from the bottom to the top, the function from the event to exhibition and then to celebration, consistently growing upward, expressing the celebration of Digu. And in these buildings, there are these 10 types of architectural space are assembled through the wooden structure of the grid and the different architectural functions and the space atmosphere. The 5 buildings at the node are all the 5 buildings at the node are all commercial Malay shops, restaurants, and coffee shops. The node building connects the space between the 5 buildings and the small green space between the buildings, and also becomes the major vantage point for the people. Through the plan, it can be clearly seen that these vital part types are implanted in the nodes, and the wooden structure is used as a main frame frame of the building, and the fabric is an element of Daegu's industry. Green plants respond to Daegu's urban development goals. As a small exhibition hall for the city, the building has different exhibits at different times. The building itself is first and foremost an exhibition of Daegu's urban development. During the working day, there are workers who buy a cup of coffee and sit down or have lunch at noon. On holidays, there will be tourists with children to visit and play. In the evening, as the sky darkens, light combined with wooden pieces to form small balls where street singers sing, and combined with the unique fabric of Daegu, the space and light become an interactive space, and people combine to the highest tower and the stage, some performing and some watching. When the light beams down, these nodes became a luminous gap in the cities, interjecting more young and interesting blood into Daegu. And at the same time, the construction of this architecture combines with the sighting of the curtains as a piece by piece. Projection screen can be played and displayed to hold some small exhibitions in this node, from the leisure activities on the first floor to the exhibitions on the second floor, and to the celebrations on the top floor. The emotions level up and reaching the climax of the Daegu's experience. And the third paragraph is our expectation for the future of Daegu, and we hope that Daegu will continue to improve its future development through our design. Thank you all, and that's all.
Okay, thank you. We need to, in general, we need to speed up a little bit each group so we can have more time for the critics. And I think
the text section is so vivid and the set plan is so accurate.
this is Professor Zhang Xinnan.
Xinnan doesn't have a Zoom, so we are opening another one.
Yeah.
You know, like
Thank you.
circling others. But you guys,
the section is so vivid and the set line is so accurate. Grazie.
Yeah, I think my first impression is that light is the best professor. So I've been seeing so many beautiful drawings. I haven't seen it for the past, I don't know, 3 months or so.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, and it's beautiful. Let's have Professor Grahame Shane speak first. What do you think?
Totally amazing analysis. Very fast, hard to take it all in. and then shifting scales very beautifully to the old, I think the old part of the town, and breaking it down into 3 parts. That was pretty quick and amazing. And then, well, in the first one that went into the bamboo walls and the garden, really very poetic spaces. I mean, it's so fast, it's hard to capture, but the way it worked with landscape, and then it opened out from the street into the park, that was very interesting. And then they all come to a climax in a theater at the end, a 3-dimensional kit of parts that can be changed and reprogrammed. And the kit of parts also are at other fragmented sites along the street. In the first one, it was pretty clear how the fragments worked and less clear about the final theater. In the second one, the parking lots, I didn't really catch it, it was so fast. But the theater, on the other hand, with its tent roof and sort of interior atrium, was very well developed and programmed. I mean, I don't know how, I thought the logical structure of both presentations was really pretty phenomenal. And in both cases, it ended up with an architecture that was poetic, but made from system and combined fragments of systems in a kind of collage. So for me, it was a pretty astounding, quick glimpse into the work. And I think I'll stop there and let someone else jump in. But yes, okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Great comments. And who else wants to continue? Should we have Professor Pirierros?
Vassilia, you can call me Vassilia.
Yeah, yeah. Should I have?
Yeah, I think the students made a great job in a very short time with 3 scales, and it's a very huge site, at least 2 kilometers long, right? The road, is it?
Is it 2
Almost
kilometers?
2 kilometers long, right?
Yeah, I think almost.
Yes.
It's almost.
Almost.
Somehow.
Yeah, 300
So,
meters.
it's 30 minutes walk for the people, and I was wondering, who are the people to come here? Is it really nowadays, is it really a very high street with a lot of commercial area and a lot of people, or is it a kind of abandoned street? The current situation, I didn't understand the current situation of the street.
Well, it's the city center, but the city is very quiet right now. It's kind of like a little town, even though it's a city.
Yes, the artery is the main road is full of commercial, full of traffic. You know,
It's
it's very
to be noisy and
it's
crowded, but
very
it's not really that crowded. Yeah.
Yeah, because really people are working around it, and then the traffics are, you know, a lot of traffic, and people are leaving the density of the town is really dense. It's around like in the common area is around 4 floors or 2 floors. But in the main street, there are like high buildings like 12 and 20 floors, and people working around the center road. So it's kind of the population of the city is still there. There are a lot of activities going on, especially in the evening after work. So people are going out and hang out in the bar and restaurant. It is pretty vivid right now, but just because the industry is declining, you know, the industry of fabric is shifting to China, shifting to, you know, southern of Asia. So the competitive of the city start to, you know, fall down, but it's still very strong, right between Japan and China. Japan is occupying the highest level of technology of fabric around the world, you know, and China is full of workload, work labors, and the capacity is huge. So they're still pretty good. Yeah.
But does the street have a different character along its length? Sorry, Vassilia.
Go.
Well, it's kind of not, it doesn't have very, I don't know, identifiable character. It's kind of like a little right. American town, you know.
It's a young people, all the, you know, talented young people they are going to, you know, Seoul. But they start to notice that, you know, the city start to become empty. So Samsung start to have their research center relocated back to, you know, Daegu, and also they have like a certain R&D relocated back to here. And the city is very quiet, very you know, beautiful, especially there like a river on the north, so the landscape and river and the mountain on the north, so it's still very good for living, you know, good for and also the travel distance from this city to Seoul is around 1 hour by bullet train, but by car is around 3 hours. So it's kind of like a satellite.
Right. And if you want to make a comparison, it's kind of like the second or third tier Chinese cities. It's you know, it's totally not Beijing, Shanghai. It could be less than Chengdu. Yeah. Or I don't know.
Still a lot of young people living around the city. It's not like totally aged city. No, it's not.
It's modern.
It's modern, and you know, young people are still working around here. But you know, but definitely the top head, the talented people are going to Seoul because they have better education, better lifestyle.
And the challenge we're facing here as of the first part of the project is like on this commercial armature, there's lack of characteristics. You can't really identify it belongs to Daegu or it belongs to Korea or it belongs to, you know, the people here. So that's the challenge we're facing, and that's the question we're giving to the students. How would you, with very small, very tactic interventions, bring up the character of the city or the kind of, you know, the kind of drive to push the city forward?
So the problem of this group of 3 girls, actually there are 3, but one dropped at the very last moment. The 3 girls are facing is they're trying to revitalize, you know, the characteristic of the city and focus all these features into put them into the center road and give a better understanding of the culture behind the road. So that was the initial strategy. Yeah.
Okay. What I think it's very interesting answer, because now I understand the city better, and I think that one answer could have been to make this high street a pedestrian one and to completely change this urban space. But in this case, maybe it will be too much. And understanding the scale of the city and the kind of city, then the answer of the students is to create public space, but a kind of fragmented public space, and to reuse the different open space with within different fabric, and So this is very interesting because these nodes making some new stops where the people will enjoy it's kind of plaza, but they have a lot of levels, a lot of architecture. So it's an inhabited plaza. So I feel this space are quite interesting, but still I would have it would have been interesting to have some change in the road, because the road, I guess it's maybe 4 cars large. I understand it's a lot of traffic. Even though it's a lot of traffic, I think it would have been interesting to enlarge the pedestrian way on the side, or to make some things on the road, or somehow to have they have different nodes, but the nodes are kind of hidden in the fabric, and maybe the node should have been to the street to attract the people, or not to be kind of silence, or not to be kind of isolated, right? To connect them better, or to that's just an idea of having this line of the road making a real link between the different places. And maybe but I really like the loop idea. The loop idea is very good. It's kind of network in the city. It's not only the main street who will attract the people, and they made this loop, and yes, having the intention of having people to how to say, to use the old district, not to remain in the high street, but to how to say, appropriate the district, right? And to diffuse, you say that, diffuse in the district and appropriate it. So I think it's a real public space project, and this is really interesting for the people.
Yeah.
And what we want the students to do is to kind of create a large scale, urban scale theater that joins all the public space together and create a kind of new civic network for the city. So that's the challenge for the first student. And for the second one, what we want is kind of a large scale, urban scale museum that has very small tactic strategies that bring up the memory of the city. So just to add 2 more points.
I have to say congratulations to the 2 students, 2 girls. I know.
Yes.
I think they were a little bit laid back, a little bit postponed by the schedule, but they did a tremendous effort in 3 weeks, and with 1 week of all the exams. So I think they are doing really good. I like the drawings, the executive level of all the drawings of 2 girls, and also they always looking into there's a ambition of doing architecture through the making of new space to revitalize the main road. I think they're kind of really successful, and Professor Yue Feng,
Jia Mei.
Hello.
Who's the next?
Yue Feng.
Okay. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So first, sorry. Thank you for the invitation. And sorry, Lydia can't join tonight because even though she's appeared in the poster, but she has something else to engage. So I'm very excited to see the students' works. And it's a lot of things happening, and the drawing is beautiful. And the site is well selected, and it takes me some time to digest and understand the overall context and also the relationship between the existing condition and the new program and the design. I think, generally speaking, for me, the idea of using the cultural program to activate this kind of declining post-industrial city is great, and so I think the design itself, in terms of the architectural expression, the form, the space, I think this is all very impressive. But so my sort of question, or I try to mix question and critics, is more about urban design issues. The first thing is about connection. So I understand the whole project is sort of distributed in this like almost 3 kilometers long sort of spine in the old town. It's fairly large scale, a fairly long distance in terms of walking. So I'm curious that if there's analysis or sort of thinking about how to connect all this program, a new sort of parks, theater, museum with public transportation, and how all this sort of very distributed program in the old town, and how they can tie back to the, for example, the railway station. I see the map. There's a railway station, and you talk about high-speed railway, and to possibly or potentially connect this kind of new art district with not only the city itself, but also in regional, has a regional influence. So how people come to the city, that they can get to this site very quickly or very conveniently. That's so I think that's maybe worth of further exploration. And I also think about how I don't see any analysis about public transportation. If there's a subway station or a bus stop, and how people get to this area from other part of the city by cars, by bicycle. I know this the street level is well thought, even though I'm not quite sure why there's need to design a sky bridge or across the street. Is that because the street is very busy with mobile traffic, or is the intention to activate the second or upper level of the commercial block by building up like this vertical connection and the off-street pedestrian? So that's so it's all a question about connection. How all this well designed a new public program, how they can connect well back to the neighborhood and or even larger part of the city. I think that's my question, also my suggestion for the group that you can do more for the project. Second thing is about scale. I agree with the previous critics about the street. I also very curious about how wide the street is, the main street is, the main spine of this street. These are 2 or 3 kilometers long artery of the whole neighborhood. Is this how many lanes for cars and how wide the pedestrian? I think this detailed analysis really can help you to understand better that how your proposal that can really benefit the street or change the situation of the current street. I think that's my second question. My third point is about the usership or you can say ownership. So because there's a lot of public program you talk about the flowing theater, the urban exhibition. So who are going to run all this program? I think that's worthy of discussion. You might not have a solution now, or you might already think about that, but you can talk more if we have time. For example, because there's for me, from my experience, there's a very big difference that the urban space that owned by different kind of people. If a culture program owned or operated by the government or private or community, the different the output, the result will be very different. So I think for urban as an urban design studio, I think it's interesting to think about not only the building or the architecture itself, but also think about the user and also the owner, the dynamic of the relationship and how it can influence the result of the urban space. I think that's 3 points that I want to bring out. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
you. And I think it's very, like Professor Yingfan just mentioned, that it's very important for the project to rejoin to the infrastructure of the city. And it's also critical for the students to have a street section, an architecture scale street section of the project. And it's also important to think about all the constituents involved in this large project. You know, what is the kind of social architectural or social structure that we're facing when we're trying to propose such a large scale project. So it's a very great comment. And let's hear from Professor Jia Mei.
Yes. First of all, I would say I like this project very much. The team of the students, they do a very nice mapping of the main street of the city. It's very good, very good foundation of your work of design. And also, I think the main street is a key element of the city, which you choose to activate the main street. It's kind of a very like smart way to reactivate the city as as an old industrial town, an old industrial city. So like you're designing the main street like a heartbeat of the city. You choose several parts, several nodes of the main street and bring new architecture, bring new installations to exhibit the industrial history of the city. So I like this idea, I like this project. And in your project, like you choose some of the place, your site, like the community park, the parking lots, which are good sites for like connecting communities, connecting the cities back to the street. And also, I think I would suggest some of our design would not only focus on the installation itself, but rather explain how your design reach out to the community, how your design influence a larger community or larger scale of the city, but not only the facade of the main street. It's like you're focusing more on exhibit the history of the town, but also you consider how to invite people into your site, into the back to the main street and interact with your design. I think that is how you how it will change the community. It will change the people's life. Maybe because of the limited time, I may not receive all of the detailed information of your design, but I would rather hear more about the story. And one more suggestion I would give is like how your design, how your architecture typology would reflect the different method of transportation. Because in your analyze, I see you're mentioning the different public transportation influence the typology of the building along the main street. But along your design, along the different nodes of your design, I didn't see clearly how the scale of your design are reflecting the connection or the relation with the public transportations. So that may also what the Professor Yue mentioned before. I would also second to this point, and that's what I would suggest. And I would congratulate the students of this group. Thank you.
I would like to add something. So what I really appreciate on this is it really reflects one of the, or both of the two things which are kind of made maybe out of balance in this city. Since we have been there for the conference, we witnessed that there are two issues kind of out of control or out of balance, which might also be representative for many global cities. So on the one hand, it's a social climate which is out of balance, since many young people, especially as mentioned before, the well-educated ones, go to the capital, to Seoul. On the other hand, it's climate change, so the climate issue that has a huge impact on the city because it's affected heavily by climate change. It's a very hot and very humid city during the summer. So there are also like physical reasons, let's say, to leave the city behind, and this is a big problem for the city. So from this perspective, I think it's a very good strategy to use this almost informal, interconnected strategy, which is doable almost from, a little bit from the bottom up with the locals together, to involve them, to build up a kind of urban scenery which attracts specifically young people to collaborate with those who are there, who kind of rebuild or build up the city after the war, because the city was extremely damaged, destroyed after the war. So I think from this perspective, it's a very smart strategy, which also is not super, let's say, rational in its sense on the one hand, but it's also, as mentioned before, certainly poetic. So it also touches people on an emotional level. So from this point of view, I think it offers a lot to the people to jump into this project, to stimulate this like movement to really generate this urban future for Daegu. So I think from this point of view, it really touches the needs that people have there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You wanted to make a conclusion?
Yeah, I think that's pretty long.
Discussion.
We have 1 hour for per group. The next group will be three students, right?
Yes.
So please welcome next group.
Well, congratulations on the first group. Thank you. Thank you for your work.
Yeah,
Thank you for your hard
you're
work.
really good. Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, let's move to the second group.
Yeah.
可以对，换一下。
第二组的同事是谁？第二组的同学是谁要那个投屏呢？我把那个主持人给你。
老师给我就行，老师给我就行。
是 Kevin 是吗？
对
，Kevin 啊，等一下啊。
他给了他。
OK， 可以了。
好。
可以看见，现在我们看见的是一个桌面哈，是一个关于首尔的桌面。
是的。
OK，好，开始了哈，
没有播放。没有人可以听到。
Hello everyone, can you hear my voice? Okay. Good afternoon, professors. We are the agriculture group, and we have 3 members, including I'm Zhou Zihan and Kevin Yang. He just speak before, and another member is Chu Yan. And our theme is about the edible Digu, an imagination of the self-sufficient agricultural city. And from the 1930s to 2000, Daegu continued to expand and occupy the farming land. We hope to build an agricultural utopia to embrace production functions and bring back the permaculture living philosophy to citizens, and try to develop sustainable communities and self-sufficient cities, founding coexistence between living and production. And Daegu City has developed a strategic plan for urban regeneration, and that's aimed to achieve balanced urban development, promoting regional revitalization and share the culture of regenerations. It has set up 54 urban regeneration zones, and is pushing for urban development based on this plan. And after the summary of site selections, we found that the sites is mostly concentrated in the central area of the city in this part, which overlaps the activated area of Daegu urban area to some extent. And the benefit of the food circulation systems are as following in this picture. And we show, firstly, it reduced the distance of food transportation, reduced the carbon emission of transportations, and the loss caused by food spoilage during the transportation. Secondly, the circle makes the movement of people within the region more frequent, which conducive to the formation of multiple helpful neighborhood relationship. And the next part, we have some. And next part, we investigated the relative information of the soil environment in the central region of the city. We focus on finally, we focus on the Dongren district in the northeastern corner of the central district, and the soil condition here is more suitable for planting.
The next part is I will show you how to build an agricultural Daegu. We divided the construction of the new agricultural city into 3 steps. First, we should form a new material circulation in the city. There are 2 kinds of cycles. The first is the material cycle related to the growth of the plants, which is a process from producer to consumer to decomposer. This cycle exists in nature. The second is the local food recycling system from production to distribution, which is the cycle that exists in the city, and it shows how vegetables in the city move to people's home. The addition of the natural cycle and the urban cycle can obtain a new material cycle. Only by realize such a new cycle, it is possible to bring agriculture back to the city. This new cycle is implemented into the city to get a new city model. In this model, the city is divided into multiple areas. They are like cells distributed in the city. The cell areas are self-sufficient in vegetables and produce small amount of material exchange with the surrounding areas. This can form a dynamic balance of the food supply of the whole city. So as residents of such a city, there are four parts to get food. If individual planting is not enough to meet their own needs, they can get the supplement of collective planting. If that still cannot meet their needs, they can go to the market in the region to buy. Finally, the surrounding rich areas could make the supplement. The second step is to bring agriculture back to the city. There are two basic issues to consider in bringing agriculture back to cities: where and how. The urban space is mainly composed of two parts: the buildings and the gap increased by the building extrusion. As for the building part, we divided the buildings in the central district into 5 categories, and according to the characteristics, we choose the balconies of high-rise buildings and the roofs of the low-rise buildings for planting. Urban gaps are selected to form edible landscapes in the existing green parks, and collective planting is carried out over the road to form edible boundaries. Therefore, we divided the new urban agriculture into individual planting attached to the buildings and the collective planting floated on the road. From this, we get the planting map of the central area. We choose the neighborhood in the northeast corner as a demonstration area for our design. By adding the material cycle of the city and the planting map, we get a new urban model of Daegu. Our urban cycle works on this principle. Collective planting grows and produce vegetables and seedlings and transport them to transfer station. The transfer station contributes vegetables and seedlings, healthy soil to the community residents to supply balcony and roof planting. The transfer station also collects the wet waste and poor soil produced and transport them to the recycling station in the city for composting. So this is our vision of agriculture Daegu, and you can see the collective greenhouse around the edge of the area and the individual planting and transfer station in the center of the area. We named it as edible borders. It can be a growing backbone. Energy flows from soil to vegetables and to the whole system. The first part is the transfer station. You can see two flows in the transfer station: the vegetable flows and the recycle flow. The transfer station distributes vegetables and seedlings to the community residents and collect the wet waste and transport them to the compost workshop. The second is the balcony planting. Balcony planting parts are attached to the facade of the high-rise buildings and use the roof to store rainwater to meet the vegetable needs of the family. This is the view on the roof and balcony. The next part is our third members.
Okay. The roof planting is placed in the site as a device and will arranged according to the specific planting needs and the and the creates a situation for a site. 帮我翻译一下，可以听到吗？
可以听见，可以听见。
可以，它卡了，有点那个 PPT。等下，可能这张图太大了。
The software
老师，我们
software 跟
老师，我们稍微重新来一下这个。
As a producer of the whole system, the roof planting is a cell part of the whole agriculture city in terms of shape. Wall it takes the basic shape and it can also be divided into travels to facilitate the installation of the device, because Daegu is hot in summer and is not suitable for growing vegetables in winter, so the device needs to meet the characteristics of the shrink. After thinking, we decided to use the construction principle similar to the floating fund to solve the problem. 帮我翻一下，下一页。
等一下又卡了，等一下，稍等。
要不然直接点开 PDF。好。The modules are more in line with the original urban texture, so that the design centers to the original buildings and can also control the number of devices for different households. In general, roof planting device is divided into mobile structure roof planting module and a traffic module, and the structural support of 4 parts. In the individual planting part, we choose to use the space above the roofs and design a device to work it out. There shows 5 steps of the process. The first is when planting and shielding are not needed. The installation is to is in a retracted state. Minimizing the impacts on the city. The second is when there is a need for planting. The planting module can be used to increase the usable area. And the third is the placement of the traffic device. The fourth is the insert the planter into device, and the final is to insert the manual structure to recycle the water. When the device services the city, 帮我翻一下。 when the device serves the city, it can meet the self-sufficiency of the people and rainwater recover, active the space and shielding of the space. 再翻一下到下一步。又卡了吗？
没有啊，这不已经换完这页了吗？
对。哦，再翻一下到下一部分。
Okay, here comes the parts actually planting the floating greenhouse, and we use the space above the street to construct a three-dimension agritopia. The system will be capable of growing along major city roads. And the floating greenhouse is framed above the road in a grid, with the membrane at the top stretching out into the city, associated with the original public green space and individual planting areas. And this, and this is the bird wheel of the architecture and the fancy garden below. And we use some strategies to deal with the set, including using the gaps of the city, multi-dimension penetrating and elevated the greenhouse above the road with a giant grid-added structure, and to create a transparency and transparent space and under the architecture. And this picture shows the architecture from the far distance through city gaps, and the facade shows some perspective below the roof like this. People can see the floating part through the holes and on the road. And this one. And next, we will introduce our design from several function parts inside of this giant terrace. And the first part is the vertical rainforest. It is the collective planting part inside of this building. And all of this is consisted with 5 parts with rainwater collections, intensive crop system and planting drawers, and the folded surface of the lantern-like part, and spiral paths and common rooms around outside of it, and an agricultural cover below it. And according and the skin is like a traditional lantern. It can be folded, and we can unfolding it and expanding spiral paths outside, and plug in some planting boxes and common room outside of the road. And this one shows the inside of this part, and we have planting layers with boxes and drawers, and we have seeds and the infant of the plant in this side inside of it. And we have the vertical irrigation system and the root, and we can rotate the layers to join outer plants flexibly. And this shows the whole sections and some perspective inside of it. And the second part is a spiritual space. We can collect its seeds and make a show of it. We name it the St. Florence Cathedral. And this shows the entrance of this part and some inside perspective. It has 4 parts. Basically, it's the city museum. It's made of tensile membranes and the pipe organ stairs inside of it. And the next part is the multi-dimensional bazaar. It's next students.
The cube module has two functions. One is multi-functional market module, and the other is vertical pastoral module. Next, 我翻一下。帮我翻一下。
等一下，
又卡了。The lower part of the market is mainly used for exchange and sale for agriculture products, and while the upper part is used for the storage of agricultural products such as vegetables, and the overall structure is based on the grade of the building, and the bamboo structure is used to pull between the blocks. At the same time, it can provide a place for intertreatment for the public, and at the same time, you can experience the fun of planting on the faces planting system. Next. 帮我翻一下，谢谢。This you can see the vertical planting system, the bamboo structure, and the intertreatment module and the structural support. Next page. 帮我再翻一下。This part is the vertical pasture, which is mainly divided into three functions. 帮我再翻一下。which has breeding of sheep on the right side, and the vertical fish pool in the on the left side, and the in the bottom of the module is to process is the processing of the meat. There is grass planting system between the vertical fish pool and the sheep farming, which can greatly save planting space. Next page. 帮我翻一下。You can see the vertical fish pool and the vertical grass planting traffic module and the vertical pasture. The next part is the another one too.
This part is a composed workshop. 哇。然后稍等一下啊，wait me for a second, and the PowerPoint isn't work. It works now. Yeah. The picture on the right shows the process of composting production and transportation. We divided the raw materials that produce compost into the three parts: green part, brown part, and the soil, and placed them in the layers in the reaction container. As the reaction time increases, the container is slowly lowered until 12 weeks later, when the compost is made. The compost is stored in containers at the bottom of the building and transported to the city. The right picture is what we are trying to achieve is to transform the process of production into a space of architectures and be perceived by people. The production process become part of the tour. On the right is the space in the compost workshop. People can determine the time of compost reactions by heat of the container. This is the effect of the interior of the building. The last part is our landscape design. Our landscape design of the existing outdoor site combines agriculture with the outdoor site, making the outdoor parks more in line with the theme of agriculture city. The site is located in a park next to our building. We first make a long corridor into the site. It serves as a traffic path across the park and as a door of the building. The corridor can not only provide a place for summer heat, but also introduce planting activities inside the corridor, so that the corridor has a certain production function. At the same time, it can increase the interaction between tourists and the agricultural activities in it. The material of the corridor is mainly wood, and the shadow generated by the increased plant can become a summer heat resort. People can enjoy the cool on the first floor, or they can pick and plant on the second floor. Then we make the landscape design on the rest of the site. The site is divided into many strips and stripes, and the landscape design is according to the planting conditions of different crops. The park is divided into 4 landscape types, each corresponding to different crops. Finally, we add toilets, stairs, cafes to the corridors to make the park more complete. When you enter the park from the northwest entrance and make your way along the corridor, you can see the rich and beautiful landscape. That is the view you can see. Thus, a whole new network of agriculture-related activities was created in Digu, where vegetables were grown, exchanged, eaten, and recycled to be composted and added to a new material cycle in our new city. Finally is the presentation of our model, including the overall effect and some detail parts. And the video shows the relationship between the shed and its interior. 可以。That's all. Thanks for listening.
Okay, I would say very good work. Our student here, they're trying to challenge the idea of peri-farming in an urban context. You know, how to build a kind of sustainable community within the urban context. It's very important question, especially in the post-COVID era. So let's hear from our critics. Can we have Professor Grahame Shane speak first?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you have an echo. It's fantastic flight of imagination, and very different than the more contextual, small scale that we were seeing before with the street. When it began, I was quite excited because I saw a figure ground of the downtown area. And I thought, oh, interesting, that I hadn't realized where the river was before. I hadn't realized that there were probably two streams coming into the river on the north and south of the site that this group has chosen. And that in Colombia, when Kate Orff does her Eco City, they're always looking at the topography, the landscape of the site and the hill and slope and so on for the water supply and interaction with climate. So I was thinking when this began, oh, this is really fantastic. They're going to look at the fabric and insert things inside the fabric. But then at a certain point, the project flipped into a sort of eco-future and became something that hovered above the city and really has very little to do with what's on the ground. And so then you have to start thinking of a different kind of utopic megastructure that's being proposed above the city. And the way in which you're going to criticize it and talk about it, if you're going to respect the students' goal, changes. But I'd like to just stay with on the ground for a minute, because much as I love archigram and the future and the city that floats and all the rest, I've also got a huge commitment to the built city and the context underneath, which basically is going to go into shadow and darkness. These projects, much as I love them, it's not exactly transparent. And you're building a huge platform over the city that renders what's underneath, unless it's very high up, really problematic. I think about Seville, where they have that platform built over the old Roman city and the town square underneath, and they use escalators to get up onto the platform. It's quite a beautiful project, but it's over the void, over a void in the city, not the actually inhabited part of the city. So there's a basic problematic here. And then also at the end of the last critic, we were hearing about the humidity and climate problems that will come in the future. And so then you start to wonder exactly how this whole operation works. Is it air conditioned and a sort of climatic bubble that floats above the city? It really raises a lot of questions. It is beautiful in some of its elements, but it's basically a city above a city, and only, as far as I could see, very few ways up. There's this sort of ceremonial entry into one of the greenhouses, and the greenhouses are around the perimeter of the neighborhood. There were other, I see huge problems here. I think other people may like some of the elements more. So this eco-utopia is a sort of mega structure with a cell structure. The problem with the cell structure is like they very quickly become closed circuit systems, and they close out other situations, and in this case they spiral vertically around centers up and through the platform. It's a huge imagination leap, and I sort of praise the students for that. But as an architecture, I'm going to shut up because I think it's got a lot of problems. It breaks things down into these cellular structures, and then it's sort of trying to say it's going to be a utopic balance, but the whole thing is very, very complex systems model that essentially fragments and into these vertical silos and loses, for me, the balance of the organic city that's below. It's really a fantastic project and raises all sorts of questions. So I congratulate the students. It's got me fired up. I want to take apart all the pieces, but I'm going to pause for other critics and congratulate them on a very great provocation. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much. I would like to jump into this and maybe guide a little bit of the discussion, because I totally agree. It's really a challenge. And I remember in the beginning of the semester, we were really looking into the soil, We were trying to find soil in the city, an open ground, but there is not. That's the problem. It's so covered. It's so covered with whatever buildings, with street, with everything. So you literally don't find open spaces for urban agriculture. And it's such a necessity at the same point. So I would like to guide the discussion into this. So this limit where it's kind of utopia or dystopia and this huge megastructure at the same time, it's above public space. And I remember in the discussions, we spoke a lot about the shaded spaces, which are extremely needed in the city because really people cannot survive without aircon at all in this hot and dry climate. So I would really love to speak about, yes, the space, the limits, and also about the material. So maybe we are inspired by some of the visions from the last 30, 40, 50 years. But at the same time, how can we bring this into the future? This would be a very interesting question to us because Korea in itself has a big agricultural problem. If they want to sustain itself and be more independent from imports, they really have to think into this, maybe a little bit as the Dutch way. Yes, you can be critical about this, but please think about the specific context of this country and this city.
Yeah, maybe I go on. I'm listening to you both point of view. I think it's really interesting. Both, I think the student they try to use the soil and maybe have some fruit trees and things. They did it. We know that some cities they have the sheep back in the city also to because sometimes you have the park and you need some maintenance of the grass, and then the sheep they can be free in the city. I don't know if it can be done in a very huge scale, but there are some experimentation But I think the project is really cool. Very the students, they worked a lot. They found very interesting shapes, and it's not one point. It's a comprehensive project. They use the street. They use the existing buildings and the roof and all the space they could find. So this is really interesting. Then they focus on one area, but we can really imagine that it can be developed everywhere. So I think it's Utopia. It's a good name because it's just an example. Because they are building a lot, actually, I was thinking that agriculture is not only planting, despite it is the largest surface we need to plant the wheat, the oat, and all these vegetables, but it's also agro-industry. And for example, if we make jam, we need a lot of matching devices to make it hot, and so when you build, and you have to integrate the process of the agro-industry, and actually this is inside a building and must be inside a building, and this must be also integrated inside the city, because at the really end of the presentation, you were talking about animals, but we have to also include the animals, not only the cow, the sheep, maybe pigs. You have some of pigs, chicken. We eat eggs, and all this as a process behind. For the milk, we will have the milk factory, the cheese factory, and all these things. Because the topic is also to reintroduce the factory and the production in the city. So it's not only planting, it's also really the process should be incorporated in
the full circle.
Yeah, the full circle. Yeah, but the students, they were talking about the circle and the process, the compost. So I think it's a very large subject. It's very, very difficult, and they made a very good job for this very short time, and I really like the space and the form they choose. It's really a good utopia.
Yeah, for me, the project and the students' work is full of imagination, and I really like they bring the ship in or the life, and they have different kind of religious relating to food and relating to from farm to table and so forth. And I also share with Professor Grahame Shane's opinion about the kind of scale, mega scale criticism on the mega scale of the project. And that's my criticism from the beginning of the project. I think it's a little bit too big in a way, and it's the and the kind of intervention has some sort of distance with the context in itself. But I also would like to encourage the students on keep imagining, and I think it might take some time and experience for the students to bring the scale down, to find the proper scale for their intervention, to release their imagination. So I would remind the students there's a problem of the scale of the project, the kind of large superstructure, mega structure over the city. It's a little bit problematic. But you should also keep on dreaming, keep on thinking about all those fantasies, and it's very possible one day. Yeah, let's continue with other critics.
But sorry, just to be sure that it's not maybe a misunderstanding, because it's a menu. It's not one system. It's these are different solutions for different places. It's not said that this is a big mega structure. For instance, the tent structure that you see in the center, by coincidence, I was in Munich just yesterday, and I saw the beautiful Olympia Stadium from Frei Otto, and it's kind of similar in scale, and it works fantastically. So don't worry about sometimes a larger structure as long as it fits into the urban context. But I totally agree. But sometimes, you know, it's also a kind of, it's valid to think about, you know, bigger ideas and to discuss it
I agree.
in the urban.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of I really enjoy the ambition of 3 students over here, and also I can see, you know, I'm really I kind of hoping, you know, in this kind of type of city, if there's like a expo type of architecture going on and facing forward to the, you know, future lifestyle, maybe, I mean, I'm very optimistic, you know, I'm okay with it. I think the students are really, and also I enjoy how students jump largely from urban scale into back into, you know, mechanism scale, which is, you know, tremendous body of work. I would say congratulations, all students.
Well, I would say we can have some sort of transparency of the structure, of the large structure. So you can have the existing city context and the new city. You can have the 2, you know, work well with each other. So we need some sort of transparency over the structure. Okay, Professor Yue Feng, Jia Mei.
Okay. Well, this is a very I would say it's very the group is very brave to choose such a tough topic with very it's of sort of it's very urgent and crucial in terms of a global context. I think the intention is strong, and the vision is very is even grand. I like the way that they talk about the team try to build up this discussion and investigation of the full circle of the food chain. At the beginning, I was a little bit worried because I heard a lot of talking about the building building for plants. I was thinking, oh, this is encouraging people to be a vegetarian. But at the end, there's some talking about the meat production and other kind of food, and also the treatment of the food waste. I think the circle, this kind of build up of the circulation. I mean, the study of the circulation is very good. It's very good in terms of methodology. But I would say there's a larger circle. I think that the city, the students should consider or should discuss more about the circle between the city and the countryside. I think that for me, I was a little bit how to say I don't know, this self-sufficient agricultural city is possible in a way. I think because I think nowadays it's hard to draw a line between the city and the countryside. And in terms of the food production, I think it's also very hard, even harder to.
I would like to jump in for a little bit. That's our challenge for them at the beginning, because it's kind of easy to build a self-sustainable community in the countryside, and that's what Chris bring up, the idea about perry-farming, right? Chris, am I right? Is it perry-farming or perry-farming? Perma-farming. I'm sorry, perma-farming, perma-agriculture, and that's a kind of full circle, you know, idea about a self-sustainable community over the countryside. So what we are doing is we're trying to do that in the urban context. So we have to deal with the urban balcony, the greenery between building blocks, or the greenery along the city armatures and so forth. We have to join all the greenery together to create this kind of edible urbanism. So I just want to jump in with this kind of thought we have at the beginning of the project. Okay, you can continue. And it's very difficult.
Sure, I understand.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I understand. I think it's okay to narrow down the discussion and try to let students concentrate on specific issues inside the city. But I just remind the students, I mean, in terms of the practice or in the reality, that I think is always to, especially nowadays, I think it's important thing about whatever issue in the city. I think there's always something to do with the countryside. That's my just the first things in my mind, actually, I want to point out. The second thing about is I look at the picture that the student post on the first page. I kept looking at the image. What I'm thinking is a little bit similar to Professor David Shane is talking about. I was wondering why you choose to build up this urban farm and this planting tower or the canopy pasture, all this program with new structure. I wonder what's happening to those, like in these renderings, for example, all this black block, these towers, these existing towers. What's the program inside? What condition of those towers? Because when I look at the program, I mean the brief of this studio, you talk about this is a industrial city in declining, and this before this is the city is sort of driving by the major industry of the city is textile manufacture or something else. I forget. But I want so my point is, why not you use the existing building or reuse some sort of under function city area to build up or to introduce this kind of urban agriculture practice instead of building a lot of new structure on the existing urban fabric or neighborhood. Maybe you already consider, maybe you already some of your design or some of the part of your proposal is actually related to adaptation of old structure, but I didn't see, or I just missed. So I think for me, it's probably more interesting to see how you sort of combine this to sort of rehabilitation of post-industrial city with this idea of sort of reintroduce agriculture back to the city. And these two topics put together maybe is more, I think this would be stronger argument for this project. And also a second, my last point is, I saw a lot of horizontal structure. For example, this canopy. I wonder I wonder if you have or try a more vertical approach. For example, build a higher structure in a relatively smaller footprint inside the city, and to take advantage of the height, the vertical space, to try to bring more plants or production up to the air, to sort of like to save land, very limited land resource in the city, and by in the meanwhile to take advantage of the the unlimited space in the sky. I wonder if this kind of vertical approach will benefit more or make stronger argument for your proposal. That's my sort of kind of suggestion in a way. So I think that's my critics so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I mean, at all, I think this is a very impressive project, and I think you can see the effort that the team put on inside the design.
And also the topic is really interesting.
Thank you.
And that's why it brings up all the discourse or the controversial discussions. If it's a so-so project, maybe we don't have that much to say about it.
Xinnan
Professor Zhang Xinnan.
Xinnan还在吗？
Okay, let's move on to Professor Jia Mei.
Okay, so first of all, I would say I like the topic of this team is which is food production. Our world is facing the food production crisis now. So it's a true problem. So self-sufficient agricultural city is kind of a way of facing or solving this problem. For the first part of your analysis, the team do a larger scale mapping or the introduction of the background of the city and how you want to set up a new circle of food production. So it's kind of a problem-solving logic. But later, when the students start to present their own design, I'm kind of lost on what are the problems you are trying to solve, and are you going to save space for the city? Are you going to make it more convenient for the public or for the family to get the food production? Or are you going to assign each of the families for a place or a kind of their own garden to plant their own food? I'm not really getting what are the problems you are solving for each of the students or for each of the node. So I think if you want to do a problem-solving logic, I will listen to, I will hear more about your analysis on what are the problems, and then your design approach should kind of recall or reflect the thing you want to change or the problem you want to solve. And then later on, it's kind of utopian or design, or like you just mentioned, more a kind of imagination of your future of the city. So this kind of new addition added to the city, it must have a dialogue with existing urban fabric and existing city, which is Daegu, a city with old history of the industry. So for this presentation of the students, I would hear more about how your addition part increase or increase the activity or increase the dialogue between the new and the existing part of the city. But for most of the designs, kind of emphasizing what you are designing, what's a new part, and kind of ignoring what are the existing urban fabric, or take it as a background. And I think that is the part I would hear more from the students. The other thing is the giant thing you create. It's kind of alien to the existing city. It's more of imagination rather than a needed base, right? So the scale of the building is beyond the the requirements of the food production. So what are the other things that this new architecture bring to the city or bring to the community? Is it only a function of the food circulation or food production, or it creates more public space for people to communicate with each other, for people to live? Does it provide more housing units? Because the scale of the building is way beyond the food production thing. So that's the part I would also hear more from the students. But I also see some interesting design from some of students. For example, the transfer station, which is quite cool, and also the triangle corridor by the last student. The part that he did is quite cool thing, which really bring new space and new function to the community, to the neighborhood. That's my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For me, the architecture scale of the project is very successful because the students are very creative in terms of the program and the structure, the type of circulation, and even the material of architecture, because part of it could be, you know, agriculture, planting and vegetables and so forth. So the architecture scale is pretty successful, and we might need to do some more work on the urban scale, trying to understand how the build structure work with the existing urban context. So, but I would like to congratulate on this group of students. It's fantastic work, very, you know, imaginative and very beautiful, fascinating project. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay.
I need to add one more thing because it's such an interesting discussion. So thanks for that. And I also like this comment, you know, the relationship, let's say, between the rural and the urban areas. That's a crucial issue because, you know, when we took the train from Seoul to Daegu, you know, you see hundreds of these kind of small greenhouses. So actually the whole landscape is destroyed, right? And this piece that we see right now, it's almost tiny. It's nothing against this. So I really think, you know, if you really have the big picture on the country and you see the big problem of self-sustaining agriculturally this nation, it's really important to see this from a certain bird's eye perspective, yes, but at the same time, you know, from the human or let's say biodiversity aspect from the society. So from this sense, I think it was really great and also controversial. So thanks for that to talk about this project. But it really faces an incredible urgent issue that we are facing not only right now, but probably more in the future. So thanks a lot and congratulations to the group. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next group.
OK，
thank you, our teachers.
所以将是哪一个同学的名字，那个我把那个主持人给过去。
老师，就那个把主持人权限给我这边楚田竹。
楚田竹是吧？
对对。
好的，如果那个中间有那个同学在等候室，就让他们进来就可以了。因为你现在是主持人，那个有人会不停的蹦出来啊。
哦，好的好的。
OK， 好，请开始。
Okay. Hello, the teachers. It's my honor to have this presentation to give our preliminary study of the industrial group. First, when we know that Dagu's textile has experienced a long history and is the boast of modern textile industry, that Daegu had started to develop at a very high speed. However, the rapid development of textile industry brought many problems, especially in. Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. It has brought many problems, especially in the ecological environment. In the past, many textile companies had little awareness of environmental protection, and industrial wastewater was not treated properly. And the sludge was dumped directly without proper treatment, causing a great ecological risk to the environment. Therefore, in order to reduce the impact of industrial pollution on life, the center of Daegu's textile industry gradually moved until the end of the 20th century, and only a small amount of textile industry remained in Daegu city. As Daegu's industries changed, its physical urban space expanded. The textile industry that remained in the city left in large numbers, resulting in various problems such as suburbanization and social space inequality. To sum up, the textile industry played a vital role in the development of Daegu in the past. However, the pollution problems and the migration brought by textile industry have led to the separation of industry from the city and the gradual fading of industry from people's daily lives. Then how to regain the memory of industry and integrated it into daily life is a key consideration for the future development of the city. Currently, this state of separation has many negative effects. As textile industry has no industrial upgrading, the facilities are aging, so it is difficult to maintain or improve productivity, and the new industrial parks continue to be depressed. These complexes are not only low functioning, but they continue to destroy the beauty of the urban landscape. And here we summarize several major factors that produce the negative effects. The factories occupy a large, the factories occupy a large area and have a single function that cannot match modern life. The industrial pollution and its treatment affects daily life, and the original culture lineage breaks down with the relocation of factories and gradually moves away. Therefore, we hope to build a new language and spatial order based on the original factory size from the original industrial culture of Daegu, so that the factory can be integrated with life. And here's our side. With the expansion of the city, industry gradually moved out of the central city and were distributed along the river, forming an industrial belt. However, Daegu's historical industrial heritage is mainly concentrated around the old city. Is in the center of the city. Well, it is almost abandoned in modern industrial parks. Currently, Daegu City has started an industrial regeneration and upgrading plan for the industrial zone along the river. So we selected one of the 3 old industrial parks as our site based on this Daegu strategic plan 2025. The site has these 3 problems: low use density, lack of growth, and the single use of function. We hope to find a new direction for the original textile industry by combining the functions of 3 zones: industrial production, historical exhibition, and entertainment, with a view to find a paradigm for an industrial model that balances production and life. Okay, here's our first part of design on the multiple possibilities of a factory. As we mentioned above, the original factory building has problems such as flat waste and low production efficiency, and so on. We hope to break up the space with different functional attributes and then mix them to make up for the shortcomings of each functional space, improve the efficiency of space utilization, and become a growable circulation system. However, while the functions were diverse, the closely arranged links in the production line were also separated. We studied the whole production process. We found that each link of the textile process requires almost the same area of space as does the wastewater treatment, which means that each production link can be reduced to a minimum unit of a fixed size. Therefore, we envisioned a vertical arrangement of the links in the whole production process, which makes the productivity per unit area more efficient and also creates the possibilities for the penetration and combination of multiple functions. Here's our original idea of building generation. We changed the factory form from flat to vertical and attached public space around the vertical production units. And then we arranged multiple vertical production units to form a factory forest. We see this concept as a vision for the transformation of the future industrial park at the edge of the city. The forest of production lines is a new form of old factory building left behind in the process urban industrial upgrading and echoes the old industrial culture. Can see that each vertical unit of it is comparable to the structural frame of the old factory building with the size of 10, 10, and 9. Which is also the size of the smallest industrial unit mentioned before. And we were building this new vertical frame on the scale of the original factory structure on the site. We also wanted to place the function of sewage treatment and greenery into the space too. We further clarified the penetration industrial neighborhood model proposed in the above section. This spatial pattern is a variable, and this future industrial community can maintain an ideal production life ecology function ratio in a dynamic and balanced way, depending on the topography, usage needs, and other factors. Multiple functions can be gathered or dispersed in different areas of the site, and vertical units of any function and height can be built within an I-field framework. On the other hand, this spatial form has growth. It can yes, it has its growth. It shares the same unit size frame with the old factory building and can be directly embedded in the old factory building. And they just grow and spread, gradually replacing the original flight industrial model and eventually completing the renewable iteration. We set up 4 functional models: production, living, ecology, and transportation, and develop rules to connect each model to connect one model with each other for 3 types of influencing factors, such as different topography, daylight conditions, and population distribution. Then we generated the algorithm results of multiple functional mixes, and finally generated the most suitable model for the site by establishing a filtering mechanism. The following is the demonstration of a battery within the grasshopper, where we can generated random models in different kinds of sites according to the site rules. We hope this model can eventually be combined with smart cities and mega data to create a template for operation of future urban industries. So this kind of growth industry model, we hope that it can grandly cover this industry zone, the belt along the river with development of the factory. We use this range as an example for base analysis. There are many elements in the site with the sewage treatment on the west side, river and green space on the north side, and the road connecting to the other side of the river. We made a general functional drawing based on the topography and surrounding functions. Each functional area is dominated by one type of functional units, and the rest of the functional units penetrate and gradually spread out, eventually filling the whole site. And this is the layout of the site according to the previous picture. We still use the basic vertical unit size, and every 9 vertical units are grouped together to form 5 different functional spaces and combination patterns. In order to cope with different site conditions, we envision this 5 units assembled in different terrain patterns, which can be arranged on the site to create a factory forest of different heights. I will introduce the production, living, and ecological units within this framework. And starting with the production unit, we will define the production cycle in the building and like how the textile material will go through each processing stage after entering this factory forest, and how the transportation will be inside this vertical unit. After determining the area size of each production link, we organize the production process and the surrounding functional space vertically so that the original industrial flow line is shifted from 2D to 3D. This production model also offers the possibilities to operate production activities at different scales. Vertical production units are integrated or combined in different ways to provide the corresponding production line scale and supporting office space for the handicrafts, the micro enterprise, or as well as the established companies. This is the entire transportation flow of the industrial production. The top truths with additional tower crane facilities transport production materials from the top floor to the vertical shop, and after being processed, the finished products are upgraded and transported on the bottom floor. And in contrast, the routine of human activities is flexible in the middle level. And in the end, the production units become the basis for the operation of the vertical plants through the free combination and organization of the transport flow. The additional ecological unit provides initial filtration of the factory wastewater and environmental greening. And the additional living unit provide the space for office meeting of the factory staff. And the next is the operation mode of the living unit. For the living part, the function of commercial exhibition, R&D, and the other auxiliary industrial production are mainly used to assist industrial production to form a perfect industrial chain. In terms of spatial form, most of the living units are closely connected with the old factory buildings, and through such operational means like this, and the new forms of architectural language are produced, providing more vitality and a sense of industrial culture to the space of the living units. And for the eco unit, considering the industrial pollution in Daegu, we mentioned above, we put the green system of Daegu into the eco unit by selecting plants that are common in Daegu or are good for textile pollution purification, so that they can purify the sewage sludge produced by the production unit and place them in the site in a staggered manner, so that the plant will have the ecological pattern of a small forest. And here's one of our mode, and this is another one. So the original revolution in the textile industry came from the genie machine, which turned the original horizontal spindle into an upright one. And in our dreams, the textile factory line could be a vertical forest, creating a new factory model and combining it with the urban paradigm. A wonderful goal in our fantasy future. And李萧然，
稍等一下，李萧然是吧？
We have 4 people in this group, and they're dividing into 3 sub.
好了，萧然可以投屏了。OK。
So,
好的。I'm exploring how industry is integrated with people's lives from the historical and cultural aspects in the future. First, I combed and studied the history of Daegu's textile industry. The modern textile industry in Daegu began during the Japanese colonial period with the demolition of city walls and the deconstruction of traditional urban space. The industry has defined the city. After the 80s, with the expansion of urban scale and new urban demands, industries and cities were separated. Textile factories moved out one after another, and the textile context gradually faded from the central urban area and people's daily life. Then, I researched and organized the evolutionary development of Daegu's industrial background, platforms, production activities, and production equipment in relation to this timeline. These fragmented historical nodes and spatial fragments are reorganized, and the printing and dyeing process and production space are prototype extracted. Based on the city-level analysis and the research above, I propose a design strategy called City Game. Daegu has lost its textile culture and factory history, and its urban context has been squeezed out by consumption and modernization. This design hopes to awaken this silent history by means of urban games and architectural narratives. Set in the rings of the printing and dyeing factories that remain in the city. Imagine how time, nature, and industry has turned this place into a jungle of rings that hides textile memories and factory remains. And add a game route for visitors, a series of game levels including Old City, Beginning, Factory, Festival, Machine, Rings, Labyrinth, and New Life are set according to the history of Daegu textile industry. I used a narrative route reflecting the history of the printing and dyeing factory and the history of the changes in the Daegu textile industry as a game route for the ring adventure, and used the remaining interfaces and corridors in the factory as a guide for the game route, linking the symbols that symbolize the history of the factory and the production process. Next is the introduction of each game level. The scene 1 is Old City. Attracted by the industrial tower, players enter the ring park. The entrance to the ring park is a forest. In the process of walking through the forest, players think of the traditional hand-woven area for mulberry planting and silkworm rearing in the wicked old town of Daegu before 50s. The scene 2 is beginning. Through trees and dilapidated buildings, the players make their way to a long corridor that cuts through roofs and walls. The clash of corridors and structures symbolizes the demolition of walls and the construction of railway stations during the Japanese colonial period, when Daegu began to modernize its textile industry. The scene 3 is factory. The end of the connecting corridor leads to the next building, a barrel-shaped, towering monumental structure with light streaming through skylight onto the dye vats at the bottom and the fabric transferred through the space. The gamer can't help but think of the production and dyeing scene in full swing when the industry defined the city in the 60s. The scene 4 is festival. The gamer walks out of the factory along the vertical playground and connecting corridors outside the boarding house to the net frame platform floating on the roof, where he finds an open-air exhibition square. In the 60s, Daegu's economy soared under the impetus of the textile industry, and people's lives were inseparable from the textile. The scene 5 is machines. Walking down the roof along the connecting corridor, the game enters a closed factory, a space filled with various industrial machines. Walking into the machine intentionally, he is surprised to find a soft and a cozy living space. Imprisoned inside under the cold mechanical exterior, the machine symbolizes the disintegration of Daegu's textile industry in the 70s, when textile machines were rented out to family workshops and people's lives were confined by industry. The scene 6 is rings. The gamer again walks up the empty corridor to the new building superimposed on top of the rings of the factory building. Through the superposition of the old and new buildings, it implied that after 80s, the industry and the city separated. The textile factories moved out. New residential buildings were built on the basis of the original factory buildings, and the industry came out of people's lives. The scene 7 is labyrinth. The gamer comes to a fragmented building. The remaining concrete pillars and the broken walls form a mouse, looking at the tower that appears from afar, and then at the runway walkers that appear and disappear in the rings, but he can't find a way out. From the confusing exploration stage in the 90s, that Daegu has sought to transform the textile industry from the fashion industry, high-tech fiber technology, and other aspects. The scene 8 is New Life. Through the jungle of rings, the gamer finally comes out of the labyrinth and sees the tall tower of industry rising from the river symbolizing its origin. A moment that brings tears to his eyes, as if witnessing the rebirth of the city. The vertical production mode unit is used as the climax of the sequence, symbolizing the new way of combining industry and life in the future, with industry re-entering the city and people's life. These are my plans, plates, and model pictures. Thanks, that work. Next is the next student, Zhang Xinnan.
李潇然 where's your model？ 你的模型呢？你之前不是有模型吗？
就是最后的那个模型，新的模型，因为之前跟助教沟通，就可能太难，比较难做，有点没实现，所以就没有做那个新的，就是机器的那个。
旧的也没有拿出来。
旧的可能是最后一页的。这个。
OK。
是还有一位同学是吗？
还有一位同学。
是的，老师，是我。
等一下啊。好，请投屏。
The third part is Zen and fabric-based in place, industrial aesthetic, and then artistic conception. Daegu has a long history of textile, which can be traced back to the 2 millennium BC. The textile industry in Daegu has become one of the industries with the most cultural characteristic and cultural connection. However, traditional industry areas are losing vitality and need to be activated. We are searching for a new, updating way to activate old city areas. There are advantages and versus disadvantages. The advantages include the tourism boom, textile conference, and a long history, which can offer light spot feeling for textile and industrial culture. In another side, there are defects. The defects include densely populated, the obsolescence of facilities, and the stressful life, which need new form and healing space and new concepts. That's why we need to search for a new model to activate old city areas. Parallel yarn machine plays a decisive role in the textile industry, as the previous process of twisting parallel yarn and yarn machine efficiency and technology determine the speed and the quality of subsequent double twisting, uniform yarn tension, high winding density, and good winding forming model, and is the key to high quality winding. There are parallel yarn machine and the node details. So the spring tension clamp increases or decreases the friction force of the clamp by changing the degree of fitting and pressing of the friction disc. If you need to increase the tension through the spring to apply more pressure on the friction disc and then increase the tension value. So the primitive form is the first one, and then we extract a new graph and then just simplify it. Considering the rotating shaft of the whole system, the transmission mode between them and the counterpart relationship is converted into section from the longitudinal. Korean basic culture has a long history dating back to the Silla dynasty in 37 BC. In ancient Korea, public baths were important social places where people could not only bath but also negotiate business, channel emotions, and relieve stress. In addition, it was an important place for medical treatment where people could receive medical baths and massage. South Korea is a country with a long history of Buddhism, which have been practiced here for more than 1,500 years. Followers from all over the world perform activities such as walking, sitting, lying down, practicing, and meditating in Korean temples. Starting from the living conditions of textile workers, we can understand their heavy and monotonous daily work, lack of entertainment, mental exhaustion, and the monotonous daily life scenes. Because of South Koreans' basic culture, chatting with colleagues while taking a bath is a popular pastime for textile workers, but the places where they take baths and saunas are kind of unsanitary, dark, and crude. So considering the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this design aims to pay attention to the physiological and psychological needs of textile workers and create a bathing space with rich experience, so that textile workers can get leisure after tired, monotonous, and repetitive work. Further, trying to provide textile workers with a mind-free meditation space to achieve a kind of inner peace and stability. Combined with the industrial landscape of factory, it creates a Zen aesthetic with machinery outside and concrete inside. The building is located in the interior of the industrial area. The space next to the printing pool. The main body is composed of two parts, fabric layers and structure. People bathing in the bath formed a shielding relationship by the fabric, which echoes the historical text of textile. This relationship is similar to the relationship between the human body and the fabric, implying that after people remove the clothes that represents the identity and the taste in daily life in the building, they can empty their minds without any obstacles in the concrete bath. According to Henry Leffer's the idea about the space, there are three kinds of space. The first level is special practice, the practice of social and the space secret social space. And in the second level is the representation of space. It refers to the space that is conceptualize the space of science, urban planners, technologists, and bureaucrats. And the third level is the representational spaces. The private, the imaginary, and the experience space is the space of users' experience. And based on that conception, the model has been generated. The focus is on the changes in the interior space and the creation of meditative atmosphere. The first floor can reach the service desk through a series of entrance circuits, entrance plus a walking path. The first floor meeting contains three types of space: the meditation bath, rotating bath, and the viewing bath. The second floor is mainly a healing bath. And then the third floor has a private bath and observing desk. There are so many kinds of spaces. The first one is the spiral channel. The spiral waterway is designed to take on a spiral shape. The waterway twists and turns in vertical or horizontal directions, forming a confusing path. This structure design adds to the excitement and the challenge of costing, making people look forward to unknown turns and surprise. And the second space is the entrance space. Like those cubic painting, they do not provide a best perspective point, no portraying line of sight, allowing the viewers to enter incorrectly. The shadow space approximates a plane, but more than that. And the third one is solarium. Soft music will be played to provide people with a relaxing music background. In addition, the lighting will also be designed with a soft and warming atmosphere to have people feeling relaxed and comfortable. And the fourth one is the waterside platform. A platform by the water can be a beautiful and vibrant place that is connected to the natural landscape and offers many water-related activity and experiences. And the next one is the meditation space. A quiet place free of noises and distractions. Such an entertainment provides a form that hustle and bustle of the city and the daily stress can be shaken off, creating an atmosphere of peace and calm. In this quiet space, people can relax and connect with their inner feelings and thoughts. And the last one is business space. The viewing base provide a unique visual experience, allowing people to enjoy the scenery while bathing. It could be floor-to-ceiling windows or open-air facilities that offer stunning views or mountains, lakes, oceans, and cities. And there are many types of can steam room. South Korea has a long history of bathing culture. Both traditional public baths and modern high-end hot spring hotels have different bathing experience. The following is the introduction of several kinds of Korean baths. And the first one is the Korean steam bath. The second one is massage bath. And there are also the herbal baths, the salt baths. And the next part is types of meditation space. The meditation space usually involves focusing on one's self-awareness in silence to relax one's body and mind. Meditation space are places that provide quiet, comfortable space and make it easier for people to meditate and relax. Here are a few different types of meditation space. The first one is sitting room. A sitting room is usually a noise-free, bright, calm room that allows people to meditate in a quiet and comfortable environment. These rooms are usually fitting with several cushions or chairs. And the next one is natural place. Outdoor natural places such as seasonal garden, woods, and fields. And the third one is musical meditation. It usually combines meditating and music to help people relax, calm thoughts, control motion, reduce stress and anxieties through music. A series of spatial sequence and meditation overlooks have been set up facing the river with the longest industrial tradition in Daegu City. The building faces the river and retreats. The water surface creates a calming atmosphere for people, and the sound of flowing water acts as white noise to shield the surrounding noises. At the same time, a large amount of water is introduced into an interior so that the water inside the site is integrated with the distant river. And that is the solid model presentation. And the last one is drawing presenting. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for our third group, and it's very beautiful project. So we divide the industrial study into 3 directions. One is trying to have the fine grain new production, new company town typology, trying to challenge the idea of informational city, to have the small fine grain has some sort of connection with the smart informational city and all the mega data behind it. So that's the first direction. And the second one, we are trying to create this kind of surreal playscape of the industrial, the textile industry. And the third one, we have a kind of a bath. We can have this kind of creative program of the from the textile industry, from the artistic part of it. Let's hear from our critics. Can I invite Professor David Grahame Shane to make comment first?
Yes. Hi. Wow. Breathtaking final group. Fantastic. The river. Yes, I didn't. Okay. It went very smoothly from the city analysis along the river and then into the first project. I didn't realize that we were in the first project right away. And then I started hearing about the vertical towers, the factory forest, the algorithm, the regenerative recombinant system. I was really, really interested in that. I didn't, and then I suddenly saw, so I loved the weaving that was going on in there with all the different possibilities being mapped in 3 dimensions and so on. And then I suddenly saw that there was a container ship at the edge of the forest that looked tiny. It looked to me like the container ship, I don't know if I remember that wrong, but anyway, it's really hard. It's been a long journey. Maybe I made a mistake, but it looked like there was the vertical forest fed into a container ship. Did I get that? Did I see wrong? Maybe that was a theoretical model. Was that a theoretical model or was it an actual application to the river? Well, it doesn't really matter. The factory forest and the idea of the vertical factory and the 3D weaving was very, very interesting. A lot of in a way, it's a megastructure, but it's within. Yes, there's the ship. There's a ship somewhere in here. In the go back. It seemed like those platforms went out to a ship in one drawing.
Right.
And I was just amazed.
Yeah, there's a drawing with the large ship. Let's see that one. I think it's
you see it down
20
there.
something. It's 20 something.
Okay, so it made me wonder about the scale, but it's not. I feel in a way more relaxed about it here because it's in the industrial area, which was working at a mega scale even earlier. I thought the history that was presented by this group of the industry was really, really well done. And I really liked that first factory forest project. I would love to have known more about the algorithms and but I love the idea that it would gradually cover the whole area slowly over time. So, okay, I'm trying to do this fast. Then the second one, the city game, I think really also, am I doing, is it all right?
Yeah, the city game,
yeah.
yes, the city game.
Yeah, I really, well, I call it the second game. Yeah. I love the way that it made a route through the ruins, so that it made a kind of promenade architectural. Yeah, these are beautiful drawings.
It's really,
and then it's like Bernard's factory project, where he went up over the roof and made a new piece, Bernard Tschumi, over the roof in, I can't remember the name, but it's a beautiful section. And then even the way you came down off the roof, and then you went into the pyramid with this cozy interior. I mean, just the description, and then the labyrinth, and the whole sequence through. It was sort of linking symbols in a very, very beautiful way. The symbols played off memory, but also made a new future. And it linked to the tourism aspect of the possible future of the city and to the river. So I found that really a very, very impressive transformation of the factory area. In some ways more convincing than the algorithmic one, but both illustrating possible futures, one in a very 3D city, the other in a more open horizontal situation, but gradually filling over the area. And then the last one with the Zen bathhouse industrial restructuration is beautifully described, very moving, using the symbolism of the spinning machine, and then translating it into this sort of spatial, spiritual reform of the industrial person into not necessarily a Buddhist convert, but into a much more peaceful existence in terms of a new meditational space. I wasn't sure how the living part worked, but I loved the terraces to the river, the white noise of the river, the steam rooms and baths. It was a very romantic but future, but I thought very convincingly promoted. Whether it could really work at this huge scale, I mean, it's like a Roman bathhouse, Trajan bathhouse in Rome, or just, you know, that Louis Kahn loved. It was huge structure. Whether this one would work quite the same way, it's much more intimate and private and small in certain parts. But I thought it was actually a fabulous program. And I'm going to shut up there, but it's a wonderful way to end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. It's very important for us, and we really want to listen to your comment about the informational city, the algorithm, and so forth. And we really want to have a direct conversation with you.
It's interesting that the algorithm might make many more people have leisure time. And so this, okay. So, and so the bathhouse becomes, and the tourism is promoted. I'm just joking, but these are fabulous projects. Thanks.
Yeah, beautiful project. Let's move on to other critics.
Yeah, maybe I go for.
Yes.
Yeah, first I want to discuss the skills of the student. I think they three of them, they made very interesting project. I don't want to discuss the project itself. I think that the topic is quite interesting. The topic, if I understand well, is how we live with this industrial heritage, and what do we do with that today in the 21st century. And I think the first proposal is to live in and live with, and to introduce this dwelling function. The second one is like a museum exhibition, and then we experience the factory as a new a new experience, like a museum. We look at it. And the third one is kind of reinterpreting the factory and giving a new program, a new use. In a point during the presentation, I was thinking about the machine for living from Le Corbusier. And I think Le Corbusier in the Marseille dwelling, he made a full society, except the production, right? Here, the base is the production of goods, of things, and maybe in this place they forgot the living, and they forgot the whole part of the society of the. So I think what we need to reintroduce in this factory is everything, not only the living, the museum or the new use, but it's the shared space, the new society, the new representation. One of the students were talking about the representation of space, and I think we have to reintegrate or reuse this space. And if we want to talk about utopia, utopia is also making a new representation of the society. And if we talk about the factory, I want to talk about the Familistère in Guise, which was the very first experience of a factory with all the functions around, the dwellings, but also the theater, but also the canteen, and the place where the people will meet together, and also the power, right? Also, if you look at Nicolas Ledoux, all these utopian projects, it's the factory in the middle, but you have the whole society around. You have the plaza, you have the place where we sell, so the commercial, you have the place where we live, and so it's the whole society represented in one city, or in one utopian thing. So I think we have to think about how to really reinvent the factory. It's not only one function. We have to go very further and bring all the society elements, institutions and public spaces, and living together, and green, and dwellings, and right, everything. So that's I think that's something that the students can think about. What is a machine for living today? It's not only like Le Corbusier, but it includes the production, and it includes the whole society. That's just to open the topic of the factory and how to reuse it tomorrow.
Great comments. And our whole studio is dealing with production and living, and new typology for production and living. So, a building as a city is a very exciting idea for us to work on. Thank you.
It's interesting what you just said, and also David. So when we consider the whole name of the studio, urban production, and when we speak about urbanism, what does it mean at the end? It's basically, simply said, if people who don't know each other bump into each other in the city, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I like this because all of these structures are kind of interconnected. They are not just horizontally stacked as in skyscrapers, where you basically don't meet each other. So these spaces really communicate with each other, and this means people communicate with each other. So it is, in fact, it is urban production.
Yeah. Produce new community or urban experience, right? Well, it's a new way of interpreting Dongwu's idea about urban production. We need to tell him about that.
And this is maybe a very smart approach for the future of kind of second cities like Daegu, no? So it really helps to stimulate, you know, as I mentioned before, rebalancing this social climate which is out of balance, you know. I mean, of course, we can discuss about this mega structures and stuff like this, but in fact, I think we all see something different in this, you know. It's this kind of interconnected spaces, connection between people, environment, and production in a sense.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. The proposal very inspiring. Professor Yue Feng.
Okay. Well, I saw three distinctive students with very different character, interest of topic, and hello, can you see it?
Yes, actually, it's four. The first project is
four. Sorry,
by
four.
Two girls, two students. So it's four.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, are they twins?
Yes. Go ahead.
No, it's kidding. Just kidding. So yeah, okay, four students with very distinctively character and interest and approach. I really enjoy of the presentation. Although I actually think that if the team can work together better to make a collective sort of presentation or even conclusion that how these three different projects, four students, three different projects can sort of coherently or synthetically to improve, work together to improve the old industrial area. For example, for how these three different projects can what's the relationship between the location of these three projects. I didn't really see the sort of analysis how these three different distribute in the whole textile factories. How these three projects can build up sort of continuous experience for the visitors or local people. For example, maybe people can after experience the game, the city game, and they will go to the bathroom to relax and meditation, and then they go to the riverfront to see walking on the nice park, right? Based on the previous polluted sort of industrial yard. I think this is if you what I'm trying to say is as an urban project, I mean as an architectural project, each of these three projects all very successful. But if you guys can bring these three projects together and have put them sort of have more time, you can put them into a larger sort of scenario. I think that will be more sort of effective to your argument. I think actually even can make your the individual project more convincing. That's my sort of comments, and I think the other things like is I think if you have something you can improve is I think each of projects talk about a lot of internal space, or how to sort of build up the form and the process of generating the form. But I think there's a missing part is about how to sort of how can the new project can create a public space for this sort of textile factory industrial site. I feel like there's a tremendous opportunity for this old industrial area to create a really sort of inviting and diversified public space, especially along the riverfront. I think there's a lot of talking about discussion about the building and what happened inside the building, inside the factories. But I think there should be more discussion or idea about how to create external outdoor and public space around this individual building program, and also between all these different projects. I think if that can be added to the project, I think it will be even stronger proposal for the whole team. So at the end, I think I congratulate the students, and this really shows strong sort of ability of learning and drawing and developing great design. I really at the last point is I really appreciate the student to show their hand sketch. I think that's very important for either architect and urban designer to use their hand sketch to represent their idea instead of using a lot of only rely on digital tools nowadays. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Great comment. Professor Jia Mei.
Okay. So as the last one, I would give my comments very quick. I like the project of the ruin exploration very much. I think the project is quite inviting and quite entertained, and the presentation is quite self-explaining. I think the design approach of this project intervene the context appropriately, so it could invite me to get inside and along with your story. So I would appreciate to the students who give a very exciting project to us. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I would like to say thank you for the students in this group, and they have done a tremendous work, and they've been keep drawing, sketch, model, and so forth, and we keep pushing them, of course, as usual. And but I mean, it's very, at this moment of time, like when many people are not very confidential about our profession, about architecture, you know, some people lose their passion and so forth. And I'm very glad that we have this group of students. You know, this applies to both three groups, the commercial, the agriculture, and the industrial group. And our students, you know, show their passion about architecture and urban design. And I wish we can have more time to work together to help you guys to, you know, to be able to help you to bridge between your hand and your mind, and how would you translate your imagination into the urban and architecture world. So I hope we can keep going, and all our students keep your faith in architecture and keep going, keep imagining and keep expressing yourself, be yourself, and try to be passionate about architecture. And okay, I'll have Professor Grahame Shane to make a final conclusion for our critique for today.
Oh, it's always wonderful what you get in such a short time.
Yeah.
And really joyful just listening to it all. And yeah, there people have a passion, and the old, I mean, you look at the range, the old armature of the main street, and then the challenge of the fabric and trying to make agriculture, and then the sort of gem at the end of the architectural scale by the river. Somehow the river gave enough space for everything to come together, because you had the bigger pieces, and maybe, I don't know why, but that more difficult in the old fabric, and really a different question when it's just the linear path of the street. I thought the question about the section of the street was crucial, that was really beautiful. It's always a pleasure to be with your other jurors and to see old friends. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I really congratulate the students and stay passionate. Seoul, I mean, is an incredible city. It has incredible history, opening the river and all of that, and mega structures and Zaha. It's an incredible place. So to think about the lesser cities and the territory between here and Seoul, that was a kind of open part of the discussion that was very, very interesting. And there's a whole tradition of garden cities that's in Asia that's very powerful and is sort of getting turned in on the sustainable idea, the 5-minute, 15-minute city. All those are very nice, but then you have the bullet train that goes, in less than an hour, 200 miles or whatever, and it's, incredible. So, and then we have the communications as well, the meta city. So for me, it was a really rich and enjoyable time. And I thank the students very much, and you for inviting me again. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Professor Grahame Shane, for always being so supportive. It's been, I don't know, like 20 years.
No, but it's beautiful work.
Yeah,
it's just wonderful spaces and imagination. Yeah, I'm always there if I'm invited.
Yeah, I just hope we can continue, with the kind of dialogue. So we've been your fans, and we've been chasing your new, imagination over the urban realm. So we want to have a discussion all the time.
I loved the ending on the Zen and meditation. That was phenomenal. Yeah. I'm ready for a bit of meditation now, I think.
For sure. It's very creative.
Rest.
Let's hear from Vassilia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they made a very interesting job. It's very hard because they have to know about Korea, the culture, the history. So it's need time for the students to incorporate all this new information, this culture, all this. It's really a lot of job, a very great job. Then they have to make a project and to go to the architecture and details and materials and space and all these things. So it's we could say a project of a year, which they made in a so short time. And I really appreciate the quality of their drawings, all of them.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Drawings, analyses, diagrams, perspective, renderings. Really, all of them, they made very beautiful documents and also models. So I think this is a very great achievement. We really congratulate to you and to them for this good job. And I think it's allow us to discuss. And as you said, it's because the projects are good, so we try to go forward and to continue to think about it, because the projects are very nice, and so we don't have so much to comment about the project itself. It's good achievement. Very nice job.
Yeah, beautiful projects.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
you're teaching in Tianjin University, right?
Also, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Third grade.
Third
Public
Third
building.
grade. Yeah, this is
Interesting.
first year of the graduate students. So they're kind of a very self guided orientated. They're they're really busy between the studio and the mentors work. So they're like a really fantastic about
Actually,
they had to balance all the works.
Actually, the studio is not their main cause. It's not like the studio.
Because they always have jobs, like courses and jobs with their mentors. So it's not like a pure graduation.
It's kind of like a seminar. Our class is kind of like a seminar. It's not like a studio,
Yeah.
And they can do this much.
Also,
So
this is the last design studio within 2 years or 3 years of the graduate study. So they're kind of very desperate about it.
They're trying to push as much as they can on the design.
Yeah.
No more chance.
As you said, it's good for us to see this kind of new generation with, as you say, dreams, ideas, utopia, and they want to go forward and to make some new things. It's very nice.
Yeah, they're facing a different world.
Yeah, but they will invent some new solution.
Right. They don't have the.
如果可以的话，大家可能把那个摄像头开一下，因为其实现在都是这个面对面的一种沟通啊。大家当那个教授说你们的时候，实际上他们也是想面对你们，好吧？
打开摄像头吧，打开摄像头。
可以的话就打开摄像头了啊。
岳峰老师，conclusion。Okay, Chris.
Okay, so I'm also very happy with the studio. Thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure, and I think we really worked on the core of the theme, like this urban production, and for the publication for the book. I mean, I'm not sure if we mentioned that like there are around 5 other universities working on the same topic.
Actually,
so okay, compared to them, I mean, not compared, but I think you really did a wonderful job. You're really
just be a little bit, how would I say it? Humble, okay?
No. I'm saying, come on. We saw. I think the other universities. My point is, for the book, I think you really have something to say. It's really great. The point that I wanted to make actually is that you have now you need 1 or 2 weeks off to reflect, because you presented so much work today. It's super complex, but now it's really the challenge to nail it down to the few pages that you have in the book.
Yeah, we don't
exactly
have that many.
This is something that that Feng just mentioned. So it's really important to step back a little moment and to reflect and to nail it down and maybe to combine things, because it's always important. We all remember like Rodolfo Machado's thing in our MAUD classes.
It's all you in here. Everybody.
It can't be. It can't be only utopian. It's really important. You please be utopian, think utopian, but you always have to flirt with reality. And we have to make sure that all of these beautiful ideas, that they will be in, the discussion of the locals, among the people in Daegu, in the government. So we really want to make sure that this book, that we're going to contribute to with all the other beautiful works of the other universities, that this will have a recipient in reality. So we can basically push these ambitions into reality. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, the work for Daegu would be continue for many years, right? So maybe next time or next year we will still join the study, the research. So it's important for us to reflect upon what we have done over the semesters and try to synthesize within a few pages, because that will be entered into publication or exhibition and so forth. And it will be very influential. Your imagination, your work will be influential to other people who's going to join the large research. So, please continue on producing amazing work. Professor Jia Mei.
Yes, I think the 3 teams of students, you choose 3 very interesting topics. It's 3 different angles, different aspects of seeing how to reactivate a city with industrial history. So, and the result is quite exciting. I think it was, right? It was this semester for your efforts. So congratulations for both the teachers and students.
Okay, and Professor Yue Feng will make the final conclusion for us.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That's a,
you are
that's
the
a lot of
chosen
pressure.
one. You're the chosen one, okay?
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. A great honor. Well, I have to say when I first got this invitation and I saw the brief, I was thinking, oh my God, where is this city? I never heard of this city. It's but after this class, I mean, through the 3 groups of students design presentation, now I feel I know this city very, very well. I know the history, I know the structure of the city, I know a lot of different area, and I know the future. I can see the future of the city. I think that's the power of the urban study and the design investigation. I think the students really get it, and they really put a lot of effort, and they are all so talented. I can see the bright future, and they can walk out of the class, and they are ready to be a great architect and even a designer. I think I also appreciate Professor Zhang Jiyuan and Xiaojun. They are great teachers, and I can see how I can see how well. Sorry, Chris. Sorry, Chris. I can see how well you guys guide the students and really make them make them to show their true potential, and really I can see how you squeeze them to their limit, and then they show their all their their abilities, and they really produce a lot, and I can see that they can even produce more if you give them more time. So they should regret that they work too much for their own mentor. They should have spent more time in your studio. I always think that Jiyuan and Xiaojun is the sort of the tutor of a gold medal class, and it's really they're really good at guide student to on the good track, and then become really good designer. So anyway, it's my pleasure to be this to be as the guest critic, and I really learn a lot from the student about the city, and I also learn a lot from the 3 mentor of the studio on how to teaching. I think and also appreciate the comments from Professor David Shane and Vassilia.
Vassilia.
Sorry, but Vassilian. Sorry. Yes, and also I haven't seen Jia Mei for a long time. Hello, nice to see you again. Yeah, so it's a really good experience for me, and it's a wonderful night. It sounds like a good conclusion.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a perfect
Good.
conclusion.
Thank you.
Very beautiful.
So it was
Good enough.
honor to connect all people, teachers.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great honor to connect all the people, all the critics with all the, and also the hardworking students. It was really good to know you guys. Even we work together a lot from online, but you guys show a lot of potential. We hope you have a great 2 years or 3 years of study in Tianjin University, and we are really great to have you guys as our part of our life. And also thank you all the critics. We value all the great comments. Thank you. 所以所有的同学非常感谢啊，非常感谢，你们真的很棒，真的很棒。我们知道你们出产这样的成果有多么的当然是辛苦，而且你们很厉害，真的给予了非常高的一个工作水平，也是给我们这3位老师一个很大的一个面子，非常感谢。我们也真诚的希望你们能够
When you graduate, think about our studio as one of the
我们会 we're gonna invite all the students. You have opportunity to work in the office,
apply for
our internship in our office. You guys are great. 我们非常感谢。好，那接下来就是我们要把这些作业要交上来，然后就这个学期基本上就结束了。当然9月份we have an exhibition in September, so there might be some kind of material to edit as a format of book, but we are still waiting for it. Please just hand in the text and the board and all the PowerPoints. So we're gonna have a little edition to publish through your school media platform. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you everybody.
Good night and
Nice
have a good
talking to
day,
you.
David. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.